For a decent while now, I've always been impressed with the cast of characters in their separate personalities, and they remind me a lot of stands from JoJo, where in the same fashion that some are very powerful, some just aren't, and others, depending on their own motives, if they grow their own personality separate from its own user, will work against you. Some characters from the Moomins are deeply respected and well written, others are just there.
Who the fuck is this nigga, bro?
And others during their adventures are either useful or just a fucking detriment.
Bro, this bitch Lil Mai, yo.
But for today's video, we're gonna be taking some of these characters and putting them on a fraud watch, my nigga. We're going to be looking past all of the agenda and shitting on their reputation. We're exposing the frauds for who they really are. Like, nigga, we on your ass. We on your ass, I'm telling you. But before we get into this, minor spoilers ahead. I will try not to spoil any major event, just in case someone is new to the fandom. Or at least so that's the case with some of you, I think. One of the first massive frauds on this list is the one and only Joxter. Joxter is the father of Snufkin, which kind of explains how Snufkin inherited his dad's sense of style. The only thing is, Joxter is a lot more weird. He is also a overwhelmingly loved fan favorite of the community, which is the most shocking fucking news I heard about his ass. Considering the contents of his character, he's not even on the roster for important side characters you meet when you see the character cast. His reputation is because of people who love Snufkin. There's no trace of him on the menu in sight, so he's so much of a bum he doesn't have his own reputation. He can't even be a good father, for crying out loud. I am briefly going to show you some past examples just so we are on the same page. Joxter doesn't necessarily have a notable detailed background, so the only reliable source we have on his background is Moomin Papa. Mind you, he is the only one who speaks in any explicit detail relating to Joxter, and on top of that, the only reason why Snufkin knows any detail about his father at all is because of Moomin Papa. So none of Snufkin's family members told him about his father. How is your only reliable source about your father from your best friend's father? That shit don't even make any sense. I guess this foreshadowed me putting Snufkin on fraud watch. Because damn is Snufkin a dumb bitch. I seriously cannot get over it. It can't be ignored. Yes, Joxter's fraudulence is genetic. You will be able to see what I'm talking about later on in the video. As I said, we don't know much about Joxter, but we are given key details of his personality in that he's just like Snufkin. I bring up that he is a major pathetic excuse of a father, unlike Moomin Papa, who is a loving father and is adamant with spending time with his family and Moomin's gang of hooligans. Joxter is such a pathetic, weak bitch. He has 37 kids in total, none of which he spent time with. Also, unlike Moomin Papa, whose kid is actually his, out of the total 37 children, only Snufkin is Joxter's. So this pathetic clown of a man saw a bitch with 36 kids, none of which are his, left by another man, and still decided, yeah, I would.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Which, to be fair, after bringing up how, like, none of the kids are his, I understand why he just doesn't spend time with them. It's also reported that Joxter sees his son conveniently after Moomin Papa's memoirs, which is the first time we see Joxter meet Snufkin properly. Hold on. Minor correction, I said that Joxter doesn't spend time with any of his stepkids. A slight correction is that he does spend little amounts of time with them through the brief instances he's seen, but he doesn't spend time with the stepkids in any extensive time period. This makes sense as Joxter and Snufkin are primarily loners, and also don't mind spending time with people if they really want to. Enough of the corrections, let's get back to clowning these frauds righteously. We now get to our next fraud down this list. Here is Mr. Hemulen. I don't want to get into his background because I have an extensive video that will be including that information later on. People in the fandom classify him as an underrated fan favorite, but Mr. Hemulen is genuinely a piece of shit to be around, bruh. Please keep this nigga underrated, cause he is so annoying. He's resourceful every now and then, but he does nothing throughout this series but cause minor or major problems. Off the top of my head, I can't help but think of the best example of this being throughout the episodes 4 and 5. This was at the time where Mr. Hemulen was with the Moomins on a journey on a far distant island from MoominValley. He stumbles across a barometer while he was busy examining flowers, as he is a botanist. This barometer, in context, belongs to the Hattyfatteners. They are relatively harmless creatures, but when they are struck by lightning and all gussied up, they shock you immensely. After Mr. Hemulen gets out of trouble from the Hattyfatteners due to getting bailed out by Snufkin, this old fart becomes such a petty bitch. He takes the barometer anyway, knowing the trouble it will cause them. And it gets worse because the Hattyfatteners were mad at him in the first place because they thought he was trying to take the barometer. And thanks to him taking this barometer, they end up getting into another altercation with the Hattyfatteners, which ends up causing another minor inconvenience. The contents of this so-called minor inconvenience is a bit graphic. Viewer discretion is advised and you have been warned. This same inconvenience was not only responsible for Moomin getting shocked ass backwards, but this also leads to Storkmaiden's hair getting ruined. Mind you, this was all because he took the barometer anyway, meaning this encounter was completely avoidable, and this was a problem he caused in the first place, from him being a selfish, petty bitch. This nigga is just problematic as f for no reason. I'm telling y'all, the more I start to point things out for you and how these characters actually act, you really won't be able to unsee it. Believe it or not, throughout these same 2 episodes, this is not the only problem the Hemulen has caused. And I mean, like, this one was far more severe and could have led to a far greater consequence. As I said before, once I point it out, you won't be able to unsee it. On the same deserted island that they discovered, Moomin Papa gives Mr. Hemulen an objective. Said objective was relatively simple. He just needed him to tie the boat around a tree so they did not end up getting stranded from the ocean washing away the boat. Okay, relatively easy light work, so this shouldn't be a problem for him at all. So while just trying to do the simple objective that was set for him, right? He gets distracted by a flower and fails to do what he was instructed to do in the first place. This is the shit I'm talking about. He can't do a simple objective without being problematic as f. Then later on in the series, like clockwork, the Moomins have to fix a problem he caused, which if left unfixed, they would have been stranded on the island with the resources they have simply because Mr. Hemulen failed to do what he was instructed to do. Do what you're supposed to do, like god damn! I would seriously hate to be around this character, bro. Another fraud, which people don't talk about this enough, is Little Mai. She's portrayed as somewhat of a tough cookie to crumble, but if we being honest, she would have been dead on her own for real. She doesn't even come off as a tough cookie to crack, bro. She just comes off as a condescending, nosy bitch.
Oh man, out your punk ass.
She's one of those characters which bad qualities completely outweighs the good. You can find some things to like about this character, but it would be really fucking hard. I find her especially fraudulent because despite her also being the type to never back down from a difficult situation, which only reinforces that fierce and independency she has about her character, she still ends up getting cooked. 21 episodes into the 1990 series, she ignores two Tiggy's and Moomin's warnings about the Lady of the Cold, runs into her anyway, gets frozen, and has to get bailed out by Moomin. Not even 15 episodes after that, she gets on a kite out of her own will, ends up getting flung into the air, falls off the kite, and gets bailed out by the Hobgoblin. Have you ever had the courage to sit your strong and independent ass down within your miserable life? This just further reinforces my talking point earlier in the video, and I wasn't kidding when I said it. She genuinely would be gone by now if she was on her own for any extended period of time. Unless it's like the scenario where she doesn't realize that the person playing the line was playing a character and it wasn't real, she's fucking cooked. She's cooked. My main thing is, from all of this, is that they completely tarnished the shit out of Little Mai's character in the complete opposite direction they were taking from. She does also have her own fair share of resourcefulness, so I can't talk shit about that. That's what Tove gets with every single one of her characters, I feel like. Well, at least the ones that aren't avoidable danger, I guess. I just find her in particular funny because she is straight up portrayed as this strong and independent, fiery woman, and she is not. Fraudulent.
Know your fucking place, trash.
I think at this point in the video, I made it well established that these characters is booty and are absolutely trash despite their reputation. So far, we have an overhyped bum of a deadbeat father, a problematic cross-dressing sissy boy, and a complete disgrace of a woman. This lineup is absolutely trash.
If you don't get that bullshit out of my face, bitch.
But we have one more character to go through, that being I genuinely don't mind Snufkin, but the wise adventurer just comes off as a complete bum. He decided to attempt to rescue what he thought was a damsel in distress with Moomin and Little Mai, but ends up being the only nigga to get his ass captured. Mind you, he knew she was a witch before this point, and when she caught him at her front doorstep, he had options to throw hands. You wanna know what the wise adventurer tried to do?
If you're looking for Alicia, she's out. Stop! Listen. Wait and see.
I wasn't doing anything wrong.
I wasn't doing anything wrong. Average tendencies of a beta cuck. The wise adventurer, mind you. The wise?
Man, what the fuck is you talking about?
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry.
Not to mention, he is arguably just as bad with children just like his father. I would argue even worse with them in this case. What? Stay with me now. 6 episodes after that, this takes place after the Great Flood when it was relatively calming down. He decides to hop over a gate into a private park to rescue children. Then after he sets them free with literally no cognitive foresight, he's not even sure if he likes the children?
Come on, you kids, you can go wherever you want.
Do what you like. Yeah, but I don't know what I want. Me neither. Not me. I think they want to go with you, Snufkin.
But I don't know anything about small children. I'm not sure I even like them.
You're not sure if you even like them? Okay, why did you save them in the first place? Y'all ever notice it's dumb shit he does like this that can actually build up an argument against his exact philosophy? It's funny how that works, huh? Unironically, he's even a fraud on a philosophical front, but just to catch all up to speed. The wise adventurer lacks the cognitive foresight even for adventures he's prepared for. He had the preparations to save Alicia. He had the preparations to save those kids. And when something doesn't go according to plan, his brain jams. He couldn't even play it cool and cordial with the witch after coming face to face and fled it like a soy boy cuck bitch when he was caught snooping around. He wouldn't have even got tied up and had to get rescued by Moomin and Little Mai if he had just played it cool. And his lack of cognitive foresight leads to the situation that happens with the kids, gives ammunition for arguments against his philosophy. This is what we call a fraud. The wise adventurer is a bumbling idiot. Which, to be fair, he is still a child. I'm not getting ass pats for pointing out any of that shit.
Got it.
If it's one thought that has been reoccurring in the back of my mind, every character has their own fair share of being insanely resourceful and helpful to the main protagonist, but they do stupid shit that is universally corny, which is exactly how I feel with every single character that I just listed as an absolute worthless bum. He got lucky to get bailed out by Moomin and Snufkin. She got lucky to get bailed out by Moomin and the Hobgoblin. He gets lucky that his love for challenging authority figures completely hinges on the fact that the authority figures are complete pieces of shit, or else he won't have any authority figures to challenge challenge. Absolute lame. It's the same with the scenario as he's rescuing the children with little Mai. He gets lucky that the fandom overlooks this shit and doesn't cook his sorry ass. And even in the same episode, he gets lucky that he finds a house filled with food for the children to eat, even though they were starving in the middle of nowhere and they didn't have any place to go. Think of the same scenario, except if he didn't find the cabin, he would have gotten them fucking killed. I can't believe half of the stuff Snufkin does, to be honest with you. It's even more retarded when you think about his entire philosophy in general, which surrounds independence and total freedom, and not relying or looking up too much to other people. From this exact case, one can make the argument that your independence and freedom is ultimately meaningless if you're not doing anything valuable with that time. If he hadn't found that cabin, he would have done ultimately nothing meaningful. Him being lucky at that moment is even more embarrassingly corny in comparison to everybody else, especially since he's a deep, well thought out, meaningful character. There would be no point in saying that he's not insanely resourceful or downplaying anything else, as that would just be pure copium. But it's even more cope to prop him up as this wise adventurer, only for him to look like a bum. Completely lame. I'm not too much of a Snufkin fan, but I really don't hate him. I actually genuinely like Snufkin. His philosophy is just fraudulent. My reason for getting on the head top of every single one of these characters is because nobody says anything about them like that. Maybe it's because people don't really think when it comes to the Moomins, and honestly that's fair to some degree. Or at least when they think about the Moomins and have in-depth conversations, they're focused on like real life events, how Tove was very clearly articulate in her work, right? And its past history. Or how they resonate with more well thought out characters in some way, at least according to all my research. This video is in no way necessarily an agenda video, just to bring light to the characters for who they actually are instead of the propaganda they be telling you. Niggas gonna show Joxter and Snufkin hugging like they've made that much interaction to get to that point. That shit was just as fake and manufactured as Lil Nas X saying, "I'm not with that gay shit, bro."
Bro, come on, bro. Stop doing that, bro.
What? I'm not doing nothing.
I'm not with that gay shit, bro.
Come on, dude.
I'm not with that gay shit, bro.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Today's video was honestly kind of fun, but there's a beginning and an end to every single one of these videos, so as always, that will be all for today's video. If you're one of the ones who stayed waiting for me to upload, you're honestly patient as fuck. But also, I have another spicy video coming up soon. Thank you guys for watching, and see y'all.